Alright, so here's our first lesson of the year. We're going to start with adding and subtracting integers. Before we can get too far, we need to define what an integer is. So an integer is a whole number plus its opposites. So remember, a whole number is something like 2. And so 2 is considered an integer, but also its opposite, which would be negative 2. Or say 1,000 and negative 1,000. So whole numbers and their opposites. That's what integers consist of. So basically, we're talking positive and negative whole numbers. By the way, the hashtag before it was called a hashtag was the number sign. So you'll see lots of hashtags written, but it's not for any cool little saying. It represents number. So the official definition is that integers are whole numbers plus their opposites, which boils down to positive and negative whole numbers. All right, so when adding integers, adding itself moves us to the right on a number line. So if I had 0 plus 3, I'm going to move to the right 3. But negative numbers tell us to go the opposite. Opposite direction. And that's if it comes after our operation. So if we start negative, that's just telling us our starting. So if we have something like negative 2 plus 6. This number here, this is our starting number. This is the direction we are moving. And then this is how much we move. So here we would use, here's negative 2, and then we're going to move 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our answer is that this would equal 4. And that's if, that's how we can use a number line to help us. So let's go through some examples. We should be able to do 3 plus 5 without a number line, but we're going to put a number line anyway. Sorry for the messiness. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So this tells us we're going to start at 3. So this is where I'm starting. And then I'm going to add, which means move to the right, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my answer is that equals 8. Here on B, we're starting at a negative 5. So here, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3. Remember if you're using a number line to help you with these, you don't have to use a number line. Oh, my line went away. But if you're using a number line, that negatives start big numbers and go small as they get closer to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be enough. All right, it should be more than enough. All right, so we're starting at negative 5. Here's where I start, and then I got very carried away. And then I move to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So our answer will be negative 1. And then I can start with negative 6. I'm just going to do it here. Negative 6 is where we're starting. I'm adding, so that tells me I'm going to go to the right. But then I get the negative, which tells me I've got to go the other direction. So now I'm going to go to the left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Our answer is then negative 10. So that's how that negative in the second position works. So the positive, the adding tells us we go right, but then we hit that negative, which tells us, turn around. So we could do another one here at 7. So starting at 7. And since we're adding, I think I'm going to go to the right. Oh, but it's negative, so now I'm going to move to the left. 1, 2, 3. And so 7 plus a negative 3 gives us an answer of 4. So I want you to look at what you have here. And I want you to pause the video. I want you to think of, what do you notice when our signs are the same and when our signs are different? And then we'll talk about it at the end of the video. Alright, so then moving on to subtracting integers. When we subtract, subtraction makes us move to the left on the number line. And the negative numbers tell us, again, to change direction. Or go the opposite direction. So when I'm looking at these, if I give myself a number line, and we have, let's go, 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. So when I look at this, I'm starting at 2, so that's right here. Negative means I'm going to go to the left, or subtraction, not negative. I'm going to go to the left, and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 minus 5 is a negative 3. Here, we're starting at a negative 6. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. With negatives all in front of those. So we're starting at a negative 6. The minus tells us to go to the left, and we're going to go left 3. 1, 2, 3. So my answer is negative 9. And again, right now I'm showing you with the number line so you see why it is what it is. I'm hoping at the end of this video we can just use rules. Alright, so then here, negative 10, negative 8, negative 7, negative 6, 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0. Alright, so we're starting at negative 7. Now the minus tells us that we're going to go to the left, but then we hit the negative 3, which tells us to change direction. So where we were going to the left, now we're going to go to the right. 3. 1, 2, 3. And our answer would then be a negative 4. And then when we do 5, starting at 5, so we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'd start at the 5. The subtraction tells us to go left, but then we hit negative 4, so then that tells us to go the other direction. So I'm going to go right 4. So 1, and it keeps clicking on me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and our answer is then 9. So again, look at these. Notice, maybe see what you can see when you have same signs, when you have different signs, when you have a negative with a negative, things like that. Pause, think about it, and then we're going to come together. So here are some things. When we are adding, stop, I want my ink. Thank you. All right, so when we are adding, we'll just go back to the examples on adding. All right, those are subtraction. When we were adding, if we had the same sign, so like A and C, we added our numbers together. 3 plus 5 is 8, 6 plus 4 is 10, and then it just keeps the sign. So same sign, add, and keep sign. So if they're both negative, then our answer will be negative. If they're both positive, our answer will be positive. When we have different signs, then we subtract. So think about it. If I take 5 minus 4, I get 1. If I take 7 minus 3, I get 4. So when we have those different signs, we are going to subtract. And when we do that subtraction, it keeps the sign of the larger number. So 5 is bigger than 4. And 7 is bigger than 3. So those are like the rules if you're not using the number line, or and that works each time. Now when it comes to subtraction, it's going to seem like different signs. So like when we have 2 minus 5, I like to mostly just think of this as always. I've had students tell me KFC, keep, flip, change, that I'm always going to turn these into addition problems, and then we can use the rules from before. So this would become like 2 plus a negative 5. So then I have different signs, and I can use the rules from before. Here, I'd have negative 6 plus a negative 3. They're the same sign, so I add and keep their sign. Here, keep the negative 7. The subtraction becomes positive, and then I change, so this positive becomes positive. So they're different signs, which is why we ended up subtracting. Whereas here we had 5, flip from minus to adding, and then change positive or negative to positive. 5 plus 4 gives us the 9. So if we change our subtraction to addition, then we get to use the same rules as before. And so we kind of, that changing, that keep, flip, change allows us to change all of our subtraction problems to addition problems, in which we get to use those same rules, same sign add and keep the sign, different sign subtract, and keep the sign of the larger one. So that's adding and subtracting integers.